Hello, welcome back to the channel. So a few days ago, I attended an event at Warhammer World with Rally Point Games and Minds, and it was all about raising money for the mental health charity Mind. But also, we played a bunch of Warhammer. Full disclosure, I have read an abundance of Black Library books over the years, also painted minis terribly, but I never got round to playing 40k until the weekend. So for all of the new players out there, or for anybody that is interested in getting into Warhammer 40k, this video is all about what I learned from playing my first real 40k game. Warhammer 40k is very appealing to a lot of people, but let's keep it frank. Getting started can be incredibly overwhelming. That's probably the reason why it took me so long to get started playing in the first place. A lot of new players, a little like myself, will dive straight in, spend your entire mortgage for the month, a bunch of stuff, and then just fizzle out because there is so much to try and absorb. Just like that, before you know it, your time and your money is gone. You might find 40k like me through the Black Library books, you might find it through gaming, or even random YouTube videos just like this one. When it actually comes to playing the tabletop game, it's easy to feel like you're in way over your head because the information out there is immense. And the thing is, Warhammer has so much packed into it that people get into it for all sorts of reasons. Maybe you just want to play. Maybe you love to paint. Maybe you want to be the next tournament champion. But when you're starting out, and this was the biggest thing for me, you have to figure out, why are you here? What is drawing you to 40k in the first place? Is it you want to get out of the hobby? And by no means, it's not about feeling pressured to do take it in any sort of direction. It's purely about figuring out what you enjoy and what you'll gain most from the vast expanse of what it has to offer. The first step, choosing your army, a pretty big decision when it comes down to it. I mean, there are so many factions to pick from. Like me, you end up down a YouTube rabbit hole of this faction versus this one, and maybe even doing those random online quizzes that generate different answers. Every single time you do them, they are frustrating. And trust me, you're tempted to just Google search, what is the best 40k army? Done. Do not do this, please. The reason I'm saying not to do it is because the 40k meta changes all of the time. What could be great and recommended as the best army, or what's a good 40k faction to choose, what could be the case today, will not be the case a few months from now. It's like chasing a moving target you are never going to get what you need from it, and that's quite frustrating too. Ultimately, you need to pick your army because you love them. That's what matters. Think of it a little like if you were going to adopt a dog from a rescue centre, and they always use that key phrase, don't they? You don't adopt the dog adopts you, or the dog finds you, something along those lines. And it's the same with an army. Look at the models, read the lore, find an army that speaks to you, and ultimately an army that's going to choose you, and that union will just blossom and become a beautiful tabletop sensation. If you find an army you like, you are in this hobby now for life. And you're going to have a great time doing it. If you're new here, thank you. But the army that resonates the most with me, particularly if you're new, you won't know this, is the Blood Angels. Sanguinius is my boy. I will never leave him. He is with me until the day I die. But that's kind of the vibe that you need to go for. You need to find an army that you are going to stick with through thick or thin, not just because the Google search engine told you it was good at the time. Something that helped me massively, and I cannot thank Simon, the event organiser, enough for ensuring this happened, was playing with somebody else who was learning for the very first time too. I was paired up with Claire, and we both had equally as little knowledge as each other when it came to playing, but having somebody there that was in the same boat, that we could both encourage each other and just have fun, was a key part for me when it came to learning to play and getting to grips with everything. And it definitely took the nerves away, knowing that there was somebody else there in the same situation as me, and it felt a lot less overwhelming. It also didn't matter how many hours I spent reading on how to play and how many YouTube videos I watched. I learned so much more in the time I spent playing than I did prior, when I was reading and watching videos and listening to podcast episodes. You learn as you play. So if you're reading and you're thinking, oh my goodness, I don't know how I'm going to do this, forget it. As soon as you start playing, it all starts making sense, and it's so much fun. I quickly came to learn in my in-person game that one of the best parts of 40k is the community. Prior to going, I was a little unsure. I've experienced a lot of sort of gatekeeping and toxic comments from online Warhammer community, particularly on social media, which obviously I just brush off. And I was a little apprehensive about attending the event. I remember talking to Simon about it in emails beforehand, saying, I'm not entirely sure you really want me there. I've not received a great response. But once I was there, everybody that attended was fantastic, and the community spirit was phenomenal. I never felt more at home. Finding a community to share your hobby with is way more enjoyable than just sort of sitting on your own at home, reading and painting, even though that is quite appealing. What I also loved was that I didn't need to be shy. I just got involved. I could ask questions. I could even ask probably the stupidest of questions, and everybody was willing to just dip in and help and give as much advice as possible. It was also great to just chat to other people about the lore and what armies they have and what factions inspire them, and it was just great to honestly just hang out with like-minded individuals for a good few hours. As I mentioned, being a female in the hobby, I've had my fair share of interesting comments. People assume I don't know what I'm doing, and they love to give unsolicited advice. Here's the thing, and this is the key thing I've learned. Once you know what you want from the game, just don't let anybody tell you to do things their way. You take the game how you want to take it, and you absorb what you need to, and just run with it. Do what you need to do, and don't let the opinions of others sort of sway your judgment or sway your gaming experience. I've swiftly come to learn that there's no one way to be a real Warhammer fan. Whether you want to paint and never play, that's absolutely fine. Whether your painting is just not for you and you want to just push that plastic crack all over the table, that's fine too. The most important thing with any hobby is that you're having fun, and Warhammer can open up so many doors for having fun. It might sound like very basic advice, but just do it. Just dive in. I was so nervous on that drive up to Nottingham, an hour and a half of just pure, oh my goodness, what am I doing? I'm going to fail miserably. And I did fail, but I didn't fail miserably. I failed whilst having fun. And I went out with a bang, quite literally, because I exploded. Once I set foot in Warhammer World and I started playing my very first game, I just felt so at home. And that's important with a hobby for anyone, especially as I try really hard to try and promote women within these hobbies and try and show that there is a space for us and that men aren't all that scary. I cannot wait to keep playing. If you know of any clubs, welcoming clubs within the West Midlands, comment them on this video. As always, I'm not going to nag you. You know what I need to say. Everybody says it. I'm just not going to be that person. But yeah, please do all of the things you need to support my tiny channel. Thank you.